Hi, I'm Talia.
And I'm Zach.
Welcome to the Inspired Guidance podcast, where we give you the real talk on all things spiritual. We are two psychic mediums from Adelaide who have joined forces to help heal the collective one piece at a time. We acknowledge that we are recording on Kaurna country today. We just want to say if you're new, thanks for joining. If you are returning, welcome back. We are recording episode 9 today, or piece 9, part 2. So it's a follow-on from last week's episode, which was piece 9, part 1, on crystals, and we just highlighted what crystals make our essential hit list.
Yeah, and now we're going to go a bit more in depth this episode with you guys, talk about basically how we use crystals for healing, how we use them to cleanse our space, how we self-care, some myth busting.
Yep. Favorite places to put them, to wear them.
Crystal grids as well, all that kind of cool stuff today.
Yeah, so more the practical, like we talked about just our favorite crystals and the kind of benefits and properties that come with those specific crystals. Obviously, you're all going to have your own, or you may have the same essentials list as us. We have, I don't even know how many crystals I operate with. I'm sure you don't. There's too many to count. Yeah. So yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for, where you need healing, what needs whatever. And then there's always going to be a crystal that can help you with that.
Lovely. So maybe I'll just jump straight in.
Let's get to it.
So last time I spoke about the 4 crystals, I'll touch on these ones again and then go a bit more in depth. So this is a gorgeous black obsidian. Now the black obsidian is like, if you remember from last week, in relation to the root chakra, really powerful for protection. So firstly, when I get a crystal like this black obsidian, I cleanse it, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail further on. But the process or the emphasis that I use for this crystal is really about removing negative energy. So this will absorb a person's negative energy that's kind of attached into their auric field. And so what happens is it gets taken away from the person. And I kind of use it, the intention that I set with the black obsidian is that I can send entities and things that are kind of in the person's way into this crystal, or I can use it just to clear the negative energy. So this is really healing. You can't see it on the camera, but I'm just going to describe to you. I can see it's like this glittery galaxy that's within this black obsidian crystal. It's really powerful for healing, and it's almost like looking into a galaxy, if you like, into a bit of a black hole where I can send energies and attachments that are preventing someone from moving forward. So as a practitioner, I love this crystal. It's really handy and helpful.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it too. It's like a silvery metallic hint. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and I just love the properties of the black obsidian. And really, when we're talking about its intended uses, it is really for that that protection and that healing.
Yeah. So when you put the entities or the negative energy that you've removed out of someone into this, how do you clear it from the crystal itself?
Yeah, I just do my Reiki over the crystal as well, and I put it into the moonlight. So it's just an easy way in session, right? So I can grab something, get rid of it,
safe.
And then afterwards I can do my removal techniques, just so that the person is feeling the change in their energy systems as quickly as possible. So basically, all of the admin outside of a healing that I do with my energies and my crystals, I kind of do that when the client's left, because I want to make sure that I'm as efficient and getting down to the point as quickly as possible. So that's how the black obsidian works. It's just, I wouldn't be able to work and clear entities, I don't think, without something like a black obsidian. Yeah, it just gives me that extra layer of protection. And while I can absorb, it can absorb energy, it also prevents energies attaching to myself as well, which is why it's in the
because it's in
room.
your environment.
Yeah.
So, and this goes for you guys as well. When we take an energy away that is, negative or is draining or is anything that we just don't want to feel, we have to allocate it somewhere to go. Otherwise, it's just free flowing and it'll just come back. So, you use your crystal for that. You can also just ask spirit to take it away.
Yep.
You can give it to the land. You can give it to someone with a much higher power, where it's very easy for them to to take it away and transmute it if you don't know how to transmute energy yourself. So it's just down to the intention.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit, but just make sure that you are sending it somewhere or asking a higher power to take it for you.
Yeah. Otherwise,
it will come back.
Yep, that's right. So, and similarly with the black tourmaline, these kind of go hand in hand. I kind of see the remember from last week, black obsidian is the energy of negative energy absorber, but the black tourmaline as the negative energy transmuter. So it turns negative into positive. That's just a vibration that it carries, and that's what it's programmed to do, because I've programmed it for that. But I use the black tourmaline for people walking into my space, right? So what I'm trying to get at is, if you have a black tourmaline and a black obsidian, it's type proof when it comes to energy, and it will prevent transference. So you are absorbing someone's negative energy and them absorbing something that you might have. Anyway, so the black tourmaline is at my front door, and it's actually sitting on top of a wand of selenite. Yeah, couldn't
yeah. So I have the same thing. So we're getting into one of the first points that I wanted to bring up, which is the feng shui in your home of crystals. So the front door is a very important one, because that's the entrance where people are walking into your space. And you know what it's like walking into other people's spaces too. You pick up on their energy. You either feel at home, feel comfortable, or you're like, something feels uneasy. So we want to make sure that people are coming into our home, especially when we work from home, and that they're feeling our energy in our space and they're feeling comfortable straight away. We also want to protect our homes and make sure that no negative energies are coming through that front door and getting into our protected spaces.
Yep.
So the front door is a really important one to have. I keep mine in a metal tin, because metal is actually really protective, and it's not related to crystals, but in feng shui, metal at your front door. I also have like a metal echidna sort of, see those little animal garden things at my front door, and it just helps with the energy. And then I also have a selenite wand and a raw tourmaline at my front door.
And I just find that, honestly, the person that walks into your space, that energy will immediately be transformed into something positive. So as soon as a client walks into your space, they'll feel a shift. And that is how they develop that trust, and that's how they start to develop a rapport with you, because they can feel straight away the energy's changed, and that they're coming here to clear their energy and that kind of thing. So it supports you, it supports your rapport building with the client, and it just makes sure that you have a spiritually hygienic environment that you're living in, basically.
Yeah, it also helps us actually connect to you guys or our clients and read, so we're actually communicating with the most authentic version of them.
Yeah.
So that other energies, other entities, other whatever are not coming with this person, because they can blur the lines of
for sure.
the real heart of someone that we want to get to when we're reading. So if we clear all of that before they even walk into our house or our office space, then we can start connecting with them straight away.
Just a bit off topic, all of my crystals and that kind of thing help support and complement me at my healing approach as a Reiki master, right? So I don't rely purely just on crystals or purely just on one modality. I use them all for myself to kind of basically make it so type proof and waterproof. I don't think you can have too much ever protection, but I just think this is just it really helps to amplify it, and actually is a visual reminder to us in our homes. Oh yeah, I've got that black tourmaline for that purpose. I've got that black obsidian for
there's
that
a lot
purpose.
of things and a lot of purposes, like
Yeah.
the same reason I always have my lamp on, a candle going, my crystals, my incense,
Yeah.
there's everything in this room has its purpose.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many things we do.
Yeah.
You guys will probably be overwhelmed by it, but it's just become normal for us now.
I just remembered there's something that I really want to mention, and that's about did we mention it last episode about sleeping and having crystals next to your bed?
We did,
Okay,
but
great.
only in reference to an amethyst, because that was quite intense.
Right.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, if you do want to go to sleep and have clearing, helpful, peaceful sleeps, I actually would recommend a white selenite wand or just a little selenite next to your bed.
Yeah, or a
As-
clear quartz.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But nothing with, and just make sure it's programmed for ease and healing and clearing. Just to, nothing that actually has a psychic or protection kind of purpose, because that can just obviously interfere. But
Yeah, so, excuse me, things like an amethyst, a labradorite, or an apatite, or like those really psychic crystals, because they take you into an astral travel, so you will be getting quite intense connections. And if you're not familiar with traveling through the dimensions and those spaces, and you're not protected, then that's the risk, and that's why we're saying not to
Yeah.
have those crystals. If you are familiar with that, then do whatever you want.
it all depends on what you want to get out of your sleep. If you want to be working in your sleep,
Yeah.
totally fine.
Go.
If you want to be actually resting, then that's your choice. you
Yeah,
know, it's all
like
about,
if
yeah.
I'm struggling to just find the clarity on something, I will ask for it and sleep with a clear quartz next to my bed or something like that. Selenite's probably
Beautiful.
going to do a similar thing.
Yeah.
And it just helps clear some of the confusion and the clutter and the things that take up our mental space, and helps us see sort of some core things a bit clearer.
Yeah.
So that's just an example. But while we're on bedroom topics,
Yeah.
let's just do a quick feng shui, because I have done my whole house. Your bedroom, you want to have calming and really loving crystals. So we talked a bit about this in last week's episode, the ones that have that real divine connection and the love. Rose quartz is one of them, clear quartz and selenite, which we already talked about. So yeah, just think like lavender, like things that help you wind down, go to sleep. It's also, a room that usually most people share with their partners, so it's like a romantic, you want to sort of create a romantic space. So yeah, rose quartz, anything pink, like your light lavendery color crystals,
Yeah.
like a kunzite. So yeah, all of those things are great in a bedroom space. In, like, if you work from home like us, I mean, I know we've said we have all sorts because our businesses are spiritual, but you might want to have things like red, orange, yellow crystals, things that give you energy and motivate you to do your work at home. In a kitchen, I just kind of have all sorts. It's a bit of a...
I don't necessarily, for me personally, I don't necessarily have a crystal in the kitchen. I used to have snowflake obsidian in the kitchen, just that, to help support the energy when you're cooking. If you're in a bad mood, helps to uplift the energy, like it literally makes it more positive, so that you're putting good energy into the food, because we know
Yes.
everything has a vibration and a frequency, and if you are unhappy or if you're doing a chore that you're not wanting to get, you're just wanting to get it done, you'll actually notice that in the food.
Yeah, that energy is going to transfer into the thing you're
Yeah.
creating, because you created it with that energy. So
Yeah. But the most powerful thing to do is to really just be mindful of your own energy and take accountability for it. We can, use crystals and other modalities as a tool, but really,
you are
It's
the
in-
user. So
we need to be clear as well, and we need to bring the control back into our focus and back into our hands here.
Okay guys, sorry if you got a little bit of a disconnect there. We had some troubleshooting issues with technology, and so we're picking up the second half of this episode on a different day.
Yes. So what I was saying
Before we were rudely interrupted.
was all about taking accountability for your energy, right? And we went through the use of crystals in the kitchen and that kind of thing. And I suppose the big point that I wanted to highlight is we really need to be aware of where we're fitting and when we're feeling in our energy, if we're feeling high, if we're feeling low, and focus on what we can do to get us out of that low vibration. Having crystals around is great. That doesn't prevent us from feeling human emotions and fluctuating in our vibration, but it is helpful for the healing process. So just keep that in mind. Try not to collect crystals as a scapegoat for kind of leaning into the uncomfortable emotions. All positive and all uncomfortable emotions all have a reason. They all have a lesson behind them. So let's just make sure we lean in to learn from our emotions instead of trying to, collect crystals, for instance, just to make it look pretty and make us feel better. It's just not fixing the problem. It's only a band-aid, really.
Yeah, so like as an example of that in real life would be if you have just gone through a breakup and you're sad because the relationship ended or whatever it was, no matter who, ended it, instead of going, okay, I need to take some time out, I need to heal, I need to get over these emotions so that I can then move on, you buy like a rose quartz and go, hey, this crystal is good for healing issues of the heart and sadness, and you buy this crystal and wear it and think, okay, my work here is done. It's not. So that's just the point we're trying to make. Not saying that it is something that you do see happening around, and that's just one example. Like some people will do it with all kinds of things and think, I need a crystal for this thing, and yes, it can help for sure, but you're also going to have to actually take action and instigate like changes in your physical reality as well as that crystal.
Yeah, love that.
It just is like a booster that's going to help you do it easier.
It's all about the intention. So Talia was talking about before about, when you have a crystal and you set the intention, it's going to help you do the thing, right? Do what you need to do. And that's what it's all about. It's about helping you get to where you need to be, heal the blockage. Of course, a rose quartz would heal the
emotional pain.
Yeah, of course. As long as you're doing the work. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. So being a crystal practitioner, it's a great supportive modality. It's a really, really great accompaniment to counselling and all those other kinds of
Yes, also
services.
really good examples. Yep. And I'm 100% an intention girl. I'm always, my answer to everything is set an intention, set an intention. What's your intentions?
Yeah.
If any one of my clients have had a reading with me, they'll know that all I do is go on about intentions. They're like, yes, Talia, but what does that mean? So yeah, intention setting so powerful if you use it intently.
Exactly.
So we've covered a couple of uses already. Another, super simple one, like if you're not psychic or spiritual or into intention setting, that's totally fine. You can still use crystals just purely for their aesthetic. Maybe you really like purple and you just want a big amethyst. That's still going to, make a lot of difference in your home and in your room and in your mood if it's like something you like looking at. So purely aesthetics, just as decor, crystals can be as basic as that. Obviously you can add in uses on top of that, and they all have their different benefits, which is nice, but if you don't want to go into that, then just pick a pretty crystal or colour that goes with your room and go for the aesthetics. We've talked about sort of healing, cleansing in terms of energy and keeping your home clear in the feng shui. I just want to go into a little bit of in reverse, we actually need to care for our crystals too and cleanse them as well. We covered a little bit of this, I think, in part 1, but I'm just going to cover a couple of ways to do that because there's multiple. A lot of people seem to know about the full moon one and think that, every full moon I got to put my crystals out or they're not clear. That's if you want to put your crystals out every full moon, go for it. You don't have to. It's just when you feel that they need, maybe they're getting a bit heavy, maybe you're noticing the loss of sort of the benefits that you were getting from them before, and you just feel like they need a bit of a cleanse, then sure, put them out in a full moon, put them out in the sun. I leave mine on a windowsill basically all the time.
Yeah, I love the sun healing.
Yeah. Because I'm just someone who's constantly doing 1,000 things at once, and I will forget. And so if I just leave them on my windowsill, they're getting cleansed every sun and moon. But you can also use things like incense. You can use essential oil sprays or room mist. As long as they're natural, I wouldn't use like fragranced ones. If they're essential oils and they're sort of all natural, then perfect. Incense.
Can I recommend an essential oil for clearing?
Yes. Good idea.
Pure frankincense is really powerful for clearing. That's going to get rid of any negative energy on your crystals, and also your auric field as well. So just a heads up, dipping into essential oils now for clearing and healing.
Yeah.
But frankincense, if you can get some of that good stuff, make sure that you use it sparingly, because it is very expensive, but it's so powerful. You would absolutely love it.
Yeah, essential oils can be pricey, especially if you're actually getting the pure stuff, but they will last you a really, really long time. So it's the value is there. It's just maybe a little bit of an initial investment. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm a dragon's blood girl, and my house is constantly smoked out by dragon's blood incense. Everyone who comes here is just used to the smell now. That's a really protective, clearing scent. So yeah, whatever you like, whatever works for you. There's no hard and fast rules. Yeah. It's just what works for you and what your intentions you're putting into the action that you're doing. The only other thing I will say is make sure the crystals that you're cleansing are water safe. Some crystals cannot get wet, so you don't want to be spraying essential oils or anything on those ones.
Yeah. I was just going to mention about
selenite.
Wow. Selenite, that's the one with water that we don't want it to be dissolved.
We don't want it to go into water, but selenite never needs cleansing. Neither does citrine, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And so selenite will actually cleanse all your other crystals, every single one of them. Just put a selenite next to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's quite a few different options there for care of your crystals. Was there anything else?
Sorry if we've repeated a bit of that from like this last half of the episode. I think we may have touched on it. But don't forget just the amazing power of Palo Santo. If you want to go back to basics.
Oh, yeah.
Palo Santo.
Palo Santo, yeah.
Yeah, just do it. If you're doing a little house clearing, smoking ceremony, amazing. Put your crystals out, clear them, clean them with the smoke. Yep. You're all good to go. Something as simple as that. All right. So if you're finding that you don't really know where to start and you've got a whole bunch of crystals with like good nice peaks to them, and you've got a bit of time, you're thinking you might want to be sitting in the sun, maybe a bit of a meditation, you can actually create a crystal grid. And crystal grids are a really super powerful way to amplify your intention, right? So for instance, when I do distance Reiki healings, I'll actually do it with a crystal grid, because what that means is, yes, they get the healing from the distance healing through Reiki, but it gets amplified by the crystal's energy, because you literally program each crystal one by one with the intention of healing, protection, clearing, and all those kinds of energies. And I say the intentions out loud just so the intention of the words can reverberate and actually stick to the crystals. You don't need to. It's just something that I do myself, So if you guys are interested in actually learning how to do a crystal grid, maybe send us a message. We might be able to do a live stream, set up a crystal grid, and get you guys to kind of give us your feedback on that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, and we could even we'll think of something kind of clever to set our intention to, like maybe something to do with a future event or a future whatever, so that we can actually come back with feedback after the thing.
Yeah, document it.
So yeah, we're open to suggestions. If you want us to particularly have a focus or a topic on that crystal grid. You can also buy crystal grids if you're a luxurious person who has the money and you like nice things. You might want to go out and buy one. I've seen some pretty nice ones out there. Pricing varies, obviously, depending where you go. But yeah, otherwise you can just make them yourself.
Beautiful.
Cool. All right. I have a couple of things I want to address. These are questions that come from my clients, and they're frequently asked questions that come up for, I think, both of us. But one of them I sort of covered before, which was, do you have to cleanse your crystal every full moon? And, things like retrogrades and depending what sign the moon is in, the chaotic energy. I get a lot of people that are like, oh no, you can't, dare put my crystals out on this full moon or something bad's going to happen, because there's a lot of information on the internet, and there are some spiritual references that do instill this kind of fear and these rules and like, you can't do this, and people get like concerned that if they do something wrong, that like they're opening themselves up to bad energy or something. So I just wanted to address and put that out there, that is not the case. It is more down to the individual. So if you are going through a chaotic time and it just so happens to be a retrograde or whatever, and the energy is maybe overwhelming or you're not coping with it, then you may not want to put your crystals out and sort of amplify that already chaotic energy. But despite what the astrology is doing, if you are okay and your crystals need cleansing and it just so happens that you're like, oh, I'm home, I've got the night to myself and it's a full moon, then by all means you can put your crystals out. Nothing bad is going to happen. So we say this all the time, it comes down to your personal judgment. You've got to tune into how you're feeling, what's going on with the energy. Does it feel okay? Sure, go ahead, you can do it. If it doesn't feel okay, don't go ahead. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. And no, you do not need to cleanse them every month, full moon, week, whatever, just when you feel they need it. And you will know.
100%.
Mine can last me like up to 6 months, some of them.
Yeah.
So it really varies.
Great. I just wanted to really compliment what Talia's saying. Like, anything to do with spirituality, anything to do with improving your life, it's so individual and unique to each one of us, right? So for instance, Talia, might have crystals that will last longer than mine, or because I want to put it out every fortnight or whatever it is. It just all depends on what we want, what we're comfortable with.
What we're dealing with. Yeah.
So just listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, do what that shows and tells you, and make sure your intention is high. Make sure your vibes are high, your intentions are high, and then that will come back to you. So
what we mean by that is always wanting something, putting your intention towards something for the better of yourself or others. If we are ever wishing for misfortune on someone, then you're really messing with the energy, and you will see repercussions from that. So that is never ever recommended. No matter what he, she, whoever has done to you, we just don't do that.
raise yourself to a love vibration, and it doesn't mean you need to love people that have hurt you. What it means is you need to access their higher self, if you like. So rise above the negative energy. Get to a place of love, unconditional love for yourself and the world and society and the planet, as a whole. And then start putting the energy out there. Like forgive
and release. It's that sort of...
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your goal when those things happen, because it does happen. I mean, we've dealt with it so many times.
Oh my gosh.
We are not immune to any, of those things. So, we definitely get it.
Cool. So, can we jump into how you would choose a crystal?
We can. I was just went off on a little tangent because I was like, there's something popped into my head there that I was going to address, and now it's gone.
sorry.
But that's fine. We probably already covered it. If you're watching on YouTube, you'd have seen me fiddling with this Gaspiite crystal all episode. This particular one, so just to answer your question, Zach, crystals choose us. Yes, we can go out and choose a crystal. Say maybe you particularly are looking for something that helps with emotional healing, so you're going to go for your pinks, light purples, something like that, and you may specifically pick, you know, the crystal that you want. And then when you're faced with a big container of rose quartz, you know, how do you choose the right one? Some people will just pick one up and go, yep, they're all the same. Some people will want to touch them, look for sort of a unique one or something that has a little bit of a something that attracts them to that particular crystal, or hold them and feel the energy. So there are like multiple ways that you can choose your crystal, but there will usually be one in that pile, even if it's like hundreds of the same crystal, that will just catch your eye. And it's like pick me and it will catch your eye. I just want to tell a story about this one. It is really beautiful for anyone who can see this one, and it just fits seriously perfectly in my palm. I was at actually it wasn't even a psychic fair, it was like a general, like not spiritual market at all. I was working there and there was a crystal stall, and I was just talking to the people. We just sort of connected really well, and this crystal, I actually didn't even consciously think of it. There was no intention. I was just talking to the people, and my hand physically picked this up and just held it like that. And as I was talking to these people, and I was like, oh wow, this crystal like just fits perfectly. I said to them, what is it? They were like, I don't know. It's quite an unusual one. I had no idea what it was either. So we're sitting there Googling, and we found it out. And it was, we were reading this, just this Google search, and it was saying, you know, this is the perfect stone for healers. This supports a healing journey, and like I can't quite quote them all right now, but as we were reading through this thing, I was just thinking to myself, this is seriously perfect. This is what I do. So this crystal literally chose me, and yeah, this was a long time ago, to be honest. And my like the way I connect with my clients, my business has seriously changed since then too. Like this has got to be way over 6 months ago.
Yeah, right.
That I found this crystal. So yeah, I've really noticed the difference, and I just love it. And yeah,
cute.
It's a little example of how crystals choose us for what we need at certain times.
Yeah. All right, guys. So sorry if I'm coming across a bit flat this episode. We are, as we're recording this, we are in the Lionsgate portal. And
yes,
it's
like actually on the peak day. It is the 8th of the 8th today.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of solar flares, and the energy is a little bit chaotic, but it's also amazing for transformation. So it just makes you a little bit tired at the end of the day, and we always record in the evening. So just want to put that out there, that it's the Lionsgate portal as we're recording. So if you haven't already set some intentions about what you want to get out of your the next phase of the year, this is your reminder. Set some intentions, you know, release some energy or things that are holding you back, and just go with it, right? Start to elevate. But this has been our series on crystals, so this is part 2. We would really like your feedback on this episode. It's a bit of a mishmash, but you know, we've been trying to just manage it with all the astrological changes coming up.
We are mishmash people in general. We just have too much, so much to say.
Yeah.
We can't, once you bring up a topic, there's not just one thing to talk about. We have to talk about all the things that affect that topic. So we do, go a little bit sideways, up, down, and then circle back around. And
that's right.
That's just how we do.
The people that love us, they're here for the long run, aren't they? They'll come back for the next episode.
It's all relevant. So,
it is,
yeah.
Beautiful.
We hope you stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
We release new episodes every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. We also have a Facebook group called Inspired Guidance Podcast, where we run discussions, polls, like when we mention in these videos that we'll put it, to you guys about grid topics. That's where all those discussions happen. We do occasionally post on our own pages. My business is Atlantean Healing and Guidance. Zach's is Inspired Inner Healing. We're on Facebook and Instagram, mainly, and we have our websites. All of that information is in the description box. And we just want to say a big thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.